All right, fellas, viewers at home. I did not change my albums from the last episode. Whoops. But hey, these are bangers, so we're keeping them up. Uh I just noticed that. I knew I was forgetting to do something. But anyway, it's What You Spin in episode 113. Spooky 13. I'm Dorian, that's Matt, and that's Jake. We are here and we're here to talk about some great picks, but we usually like to take a minute and chat. We just talked some business, had some good laughs, talked about how my nose exploded yesterday. Um, so if I sound a little weird, it's because I'm kind of working with one good nostril today. So give me some grace. But how the hell are you guys? You guys listening to anything cool? What's new? What's happening?
Doing good. I still like that you have the Typo Negative album in the background because
Hmm.
she likes the dark. It's, I wish they would have included the whole album on that one, but I digress. You have to go out and buy the original. That's a little spendy. I've been just kind of listening to the same things. Our albums, of course. Went down a rabbit hole with the band Queensryche from the 80s, 90s. Cool progressive metal band. Other than that, just kind of the basics, man. Nothing new, really.
Operation Mindcrime.
I was listening to the album Empire, which is what got me into Queen's Rock originally. But Mindcrime's a great album.
My dad got me into that album. And so when I was
Okay.
like 10 to 12 years old, I was just like, I was like, and so anytime you brought up Queensryche, I'm like, fuck, man, it's so random that I know that band actually.
Yeah. Jeff
Um,
Heath got vocals, man. That guy kills. Huge,
Absolutely.
like Bruce Dickinson, Iron Maiden range. Sure.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's why my dad showed me him because I was getting into Maiden.
Yeah.
But what about you, Jake? You got anything?
I've been listening just a little bit of everything. Been listening to Spanish joints, a bunch of Spanish music, cumbias, reggaeton, just the usual. I did pick up I think it was last week. Yeah, last week I went to Eugene for the World Cup final. I saw that with my sister and her partner Julian. Shout out. On my way home, stopped by Moonrock. Callie wasn't there, but the other dude was there. He was pretty cool. I like that guy. Picked up a copy of Rio Fukui Scenery. Fantastic jazz album, Japanese jazz. I will absolutely bring that up at some point. Show my ass a little bit there, but fantastic pick. Give it a listen before I bring it up if you can, because you'll get a taste of what it's like before it's brought up. But besides that, just yeah, a little bit like Matt said, some older stuff, some newer stuff. Some things come up on shuffle every now and then that remind me of the pod, so all
Hell
good.
yeah, absolutely. No, I've been kind of revisiting, some old stuff. Uh, was listening to a lot of Biggie the other week. Primus. I've been listening to a shit ton of Primus this week for some reason.
Mhm.
Uh Primus sucks, dude. And I shifted floater albums from acoustics to Burning Sassabra. Uh, because that one has like there's a couple, I don't know, I just heard Albatross for the first time in like a year, and I was like, God damn, this song rips. And then I started listening to that album. Um, Other than that, I listened to the new Loathe album, and I'm gonna have to listen to it a couple more times. It is, I think I let it in and it took everything is just too good of an album.
Yeah.
Very hard to follow that up.
Hmm.
But there's some interesting stuff going on. A lot of good ambient, like atmospheric type of shit with that like metalcore sound. Give it a listen, see what you think. Um, Pretty impressive. They since that last album came out, they lost one of their guitarists, like he left the band, and so the sound does kind of change. But overall, I was pretty impressed. Haven't listened to the new Larry June yet. Jake, have you at all? Or
I heard like a song or two. The song that I heard was very like R&B, lovey-dovey type, which I actually
mm.
liked. Uh, I have been speaking of because that reminded me. I was looking at I've been looking every now and then at shows like in Portland in my area. Nothing too crazy. But there's this venue where I went and saw Floater. Kyoto's is gonna play there like in a month or two.
Ooh,
So I was like, whoa, like I it's like that's neat.
that's
That's
cool.
Hold on.
interesting.
Yeah.
It's
There's a
at
lot of good acts coming up to Portland this summer and after that too. It's
yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
I've been seeing Portland too. There's like one or two that I've seen, but like nothing crazy. But it's in Midtown Ballroom. It's right here in Bend. Kyoto's going to be
Hmm.
a month or two, I think.
Okay. That would be fun.
I'm putting
I
a note down for that.
I know Arm& Hammer's coming back to Portland, and then
Yes.
Tomahawk, Mike Patton's side project's playing in Portland here in a couple months. They're touring with the Melvins. So yeah, Portland's getting they always get the good shows, of course.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I think Bend has better selection than Eugene, to be honest. Every time I hear Jake talk about, oh yeah, they're coming to this, it's like,
Yeah,
cool. We got
exactly.
the Poppin' Daddies for the 15th year in a row, or something random like that.
Once in a blue moon, there's a lot of country, a lot of folk this year. I did see like Goose is coming to Hayden Homes,
Oh
um,
shit.
and like Empire in the Sun, but like
That's
nothing.
going to be sold out. That's going to be huge.
Yeah.
Does it
Um,
circle back to the your floater? You brought up Albatross. Anytime you bring up floater or just mention a song, instantly I can start singing the lyrics off right away.
mhm.
You said Albatross, I'm like slowly,
Yeah.
right? Anyways,
Oh,
I'm a floater
only
nerd, and I'm glad that I met
albatross.
you because you're a floater nerd, and yeah,
Dude, just that song's just got like such a funky fucking breakdown in it. No, but I'm looking forward to it. I mean, the Cuthbert's been good this summer. It's had some good lineups, but other than that, yeah, there hasn't been shit in Eugene. Floydian Slips was here last weekend at the Cuthbert, and then I think it's next week is Dark Star Orchestra, which is a Grateful Dead cover band, and they replicate a set list that the Dead did, which is pretty cool. And so I'm trying to figure out if I want to go to that, but then I'm definitely going to J-Rad, which is Joe Russo's Almost Dead. That's like those are like the two biggest Dead cover bands going right now, and they're going to be here within like 2 weeks of each other at the Cuthbert. And so all the jam guys are going to go to that. So I've got like jam shit coming up because then Billy Strings is coming in October, and I think I'm going to go see him at as much as I don't want to, Matt Knight. He's like bluegrass jam.
I'd go see
Um,
with you, dude. That guy can play guitar like no other. That guy's
oh,
got
Strings?
yeah. I don't listen to any of his music, but I've seen live stuff and just interviews, and the guy can
Oh
play
yeah.
all super down
Well,
to earth cool guy.
super cool. He sat in at the Dead and Company like 60 years show last year in San Francisco, like
Wow.
sat in on electric guitar and
Yeah,
fucking
that's how good of a
shredded,
guitar
dude.
player he is, dude. That guy's
It's
insane.
so stupid. I will uh a lot of the jam guys and gals are going to that gig, and
Okay.
so the more the merrier, dude.
Yeah, if you go, I'll go. Yeah, I'd love to go.
Yeah, I'll send you the info.
Cool.
But yeah, so that's you got to be into certain shit this summer, I guess, in Eugene, because Zach Bryan's playing at Autzen tonight. Like it's crazy. This shit's getting out of hand. But anyway, shall we slide on into the content for today?
Let's do it.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, this is What You Spin in episode 113. We'll be right back on the other side to get into today's content. Stick around. Boys, I'm stoked to talk about this album. It's episode 113 of What You Spinnin'. I'm Dorian, that's Matt, and that's Jake. Matt, as always, appearing from the International Space Station. I don't know how he has the security clearance, but he's a man on a mission.
I'm
Uh,
monitoring UAP activity, and as you can see, there's a few in the background there. So
yeah,
just
I
keep
see it.
The Man on the Moon.
Disclosure Day, a great film. I saw that with Crosby a couple weeks ago in the theaters. Good movie.
Dis Disclosure Day.
A new Steven Spielberg movie about UAP stuff. Good story, and yeah, good
Nice.
ending. Like it's a good movie. I don't know. And
I heard
Steven
the
Spielberg.
Odyssey. I heard the
Yes.
Odyssey's really
Yeah,
good.
I want to see that one too.
Uh, I've heard a lot of good things about Obsession. like new horror movie that came out. I was hanging out with my buddies, Devin and Justice. Shout out, Justice has bought his first house. Uh, was hanging out with him, and they were Devin, who I used to live with before I got this place, was like, Obsession is so good. And I said, all right, man, what streaming service is this on? Because it's like every podcast I listen to, I overhear conversations in the fucking grocery store. And he's like, I think it's on Peacock. And I said, bet I still have Matt's Peacock. I'm definitely gonna watch that. So disclosure day, I'll put that down. I haven't heard about that at all. I'll look into that for sure. Um, but all that aside, we're here to talk about some banging tunes, and I'm super stoked to be able to bring this album up. It's one I've been kind of kicking around. And it's a, an artist that we've kind of talked about in passing a little bit. So and that album is the debut Talking Heads album, Talking Heads 77, released in 1977. The start is something great. One of the You look at a lot of artists, and this band influenced a litany of people across all genres. Very innovative, and I'm stoked to talk about them. But what did you guys think?
Very yeah, it's crazy for a debut. I feel like we always at some point bring up a debut that kind of surprises us because it's like, how the hell were they doing this so early? This leads a bunch of success, but this is another one. It's a classic case of, what the hell was going on back in this time, and how did this even all come about? Reading up on it was really cool because there's a lot of information of, them going talking to different record labels and different producers and a bunch of different connections, and building up the band and the music. But yeah, this is, I mean, an iconic group. It's an iconic album. It was a perfect debut for where it was at, and it's like a very, very unique band also. Like you hear David Byrne's voice, and that's Talking Heads. It kind of has that like a little bit of awkwardness to to the music, but it fits, like it's perfect for Talking Heads. So yeah, it's a fantastic album, and the work that would come up after this was, perfect.
That is a perfect way to describe it. Awkward. It's like Talking Heads and Devo. It's like awkward music.
Yeah.
Yeah, David Byrne definitely has that personality that's accessible but definitely different. And awkward's a great word to use for that. I feel like some of the early live performances of him, like in the big tuxedo and like doing his weird dances, like that's David Byrne, and that's their whole thing altogether. I'd never listened to this album start to finish, so it was fun, hearing other hits besides, Psycho Killer and things like that. There's a lot of good songs on this album. And like you said, Jake, reading up on the backstory of how this album came to fruition, all those things, them talking to Lou Reed, who's huge, back then. And I don't know how true that story is about him wanting to sign him and essentially take all the rights to the music. And they're like, no, we're good. And they went somewhere else. I mean, that's kind of shisty, but who knows how accurate that is. It sounds like they still maintain a good relationship with him afterwards. But David Byrne and the musicians behind this album, different music. It's like art punk. It's like New York art punky kind of scene. And I think at that time when it came out in the late 70s, early 80s, that's like the perfect time for this transition of music because there's a lot of different things going on the avant-garde and ambient. And like you could pretty much do whatever you wanted to in the 70s. You have bands like Yes, progressive rock, you got the Talking Heads, you have Rush, you have all these different sounds coming out. And I think they just fit that mold for something unique. And I think that's how they stood out. Even before this album came out, their demos were like getting lots of play and like people were anxious to sign this band. So pretty unique. This is a great album. Thanks for bringing it up.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it is, like Jake mentioned, it is, there's stuff that you look at on this album and it's like, yeah, this is the Talking Heads sound. And it was, like you just said, Matt, incredibly unique at the time. And, the late 70s is like kind of when the snowball effect of musical innovation really started, because rock and roll had been such a thing for so long. And then the late 70s kind of kicked in, and everybody's like, let's do this wonky, weird shit. And the Talking Heads sound, whether it's David Byrne's voice, the guitar playing, that like effect, that like almost this tinny kind of sounding guitar that they use. And Tina Weymouth is a fucking phenomenal bassist. She's one of my top 5 favorite bassists actually. And this album is wildly impressive for that aspect. And then their drummer is the definition of pocket. Like it's just so like it's fucking nuts, dude. I don't know what it is, but there's no band really that sounds like Talking Heads other than Talking Heads. And this, particularly this album, because you look at the stuff that came out after this, and it's like, yes, there's aspects of this on albums like fuck Speaking in Tongues, kind of has a lot of aspects of 77 on it. But it doesn't, it's so weird. It's just wild as hell that they dropped this, they came out with this album, like you said, their demos were getting a good amount of play, but then they dropped this album, and it's like, how the hell do you guys sound just so tight? Like you've been playing together for fucking years, dude. Like Tentative Decisions, like those, the way
Mhm.
that song is written is insane, first
Mm.
off. But the transitions in that song from like, the all the boys, and then it switches to that I'm gonna give the problem to you. Like that transition musically is insane. And the way it's executed is just tight as can be, man. And it just gets me going. I'm like, how is this on a debut album, man? And that was one of their demos that was getting play. I'm like, you mean this is one of the first songs they did, man? And it already is like locked tight. That's crazy as fuck, man. I don't know.
Yeah, it's so unique. It's so unique. It's so different, especially at the time. And I mean, this it speaks for what they do. Starting off hot like that and getting a lot of play. You even nowadays you hear a lot of Psycho Killer. You hear that song come up every now and then. It's been getting popular again for some reason. But yeah, like songs like New Feeling also are really good. Who Is It? It's like really, really kind of playful certain songs, and the way that he's also saying it, like the vocals, he kind of has like that ooh, like it's like a shaky voice, whatever. But it's Talking Heads, that's what they do. It's kind of funky, a little weird at times, but it plays to the band perfectly, and this is what they are. So yeah, for a debut, and it's a solid album.
Yeah, it was fun to listen to it all the way through it. Like I said, when I started off, I had never done that, and this is a good album. I know they put a lot of effort into this. Being a debut, it's one of their better albums. I know they were having issues with their producer during the album and had to kind of shift gears. Like David Byrne wasn't comfortable performing in front of him at one point, which is awkward. So luckily enough, they were able to shift and move around and still make the album, and it turned out great. I don't see any flaws in that side of it. And I think, like we've all said, late 70s, it's open game. You can do what you want. You have all these amazing
Mhm.
artists doing their things, and then these guys come out, and it is awkward music. Like the only comparison I can have is like a studio vocal album by Brian Eno, like how awkward some of his vocal songs can be sometimes. A little bit
Yeah.
Talking Heads.
Yeah, true.
Put that together. They did collaborate together, certain points in their career. But yeah, just a fun album. Thanks for bringing it up.
Yeah, of course. Of course. And you know, it's unfortunate because it is one of those cases, like as much as I respect the fuck out of David Byrne as a musician. I think he's great. He does seem like one of those Billy Corgan types, like insufferable to work with. Apparently, I think his name's Chris France, but France, the drummer, wrote a book back in 2020, and I think Tina Weymouth wrote a book. Like they've all said that he was not a good friend. Like everybody, like I mean, fucking Weymouth and the drummer are still married from since like 82, and so it was like tight knit. Like, but he like was not great to work with. And then down the road, they're inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and so they've reunited to play these shows and shit. And they did an interview all together, like very within the past like 5 years, and David Byrne was asked after the fact, like, would you ever get back together would you guys reunite Talking Heads? Because nobody's dead. And he's like, no, I'm completely so far and away different now, music wise. And I'm like, motherfucker, I talked to one of my friends who went to your show in Portland and you were playing Talking Head songs. Like, what do you fucking mean? Like, I understand kind of where you're coming from, but that's kind of a dickheaded thing to say. It's like, dude, they come on, man, they're right there. Like, just saw. But
I mean,
yeah,
I get that. I get that a little bit, but like that's your roots. That's like where you came from. That's what made you all this money and allows you to
yeah,
be somebody else. Like I know he's done Broadway stuff and had a huge success there, but like at the same time, you're playing Talking Heads hits at your shows because people want to hear that.
absolutely.
Want to hear the songs. So embrace it. Like don't run away
Yeah,
from it.
absolutely. And apparently they've been offered like fuck you money to do a reunion tour. Like,
It's like Floyd was back in the day. Like, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, dude.
Uh,
Roger Waters is David Byrne and David Byrne is Roger Waters. Like,
they should just do it for free. They have a shit ton of money. They don't need the money.
exactly. But
Let's be
like,
honest. Let's be honest. Okay.
no, fucking real. Well, they were getting thrown absurd money offers, and they're like, no, because it's just, hey, man, but hey, such is life, right? Uh, but all that to be said, the years that they were together, from the 70s to the what is it, like 90 something is when they put their last album out, like 91 maybe, but they had a killer career, and this is a fucking hell of a way to start it, man. uh New Feeling is such an impressive song, top to bottom. You want to talk about changes again, there's such crazy shit like that song as they're playing with their hair on fire, and that was the song that got me back into this album to listen to it cover to cover for the first time. It's because uh I saw Scott's bass lessons, like breaking it down on YouTube, and I was like, oh fuck me, I want to learn that. And it's like a fucking workout to play on bass. It's very, very fun. Um and then, Psycho Killer is one. I mean, shout out my buddy Pat that plays like acoustic folk country type, like country punk. He has a video on his Instagram of him playing at, I think, like Slice here in town, and it's just him and an acoustic, and he has the whole bar singing Psycho Killer because he's doing a cover of it. Like,
Oh,
that's
cool.
just a song that transcends genre. And again, hey, there's songs that are just as good on this album that nobody knows about.
Yeah.
And with that, let's break down some of those songs. Let's top three it up.
Let's do it.
Honorable mention for me is Psycho Killer. Just again, classic intro, but then Tina Weymouth does the sick like walk down during the chorus. That's super nice. And just a good, hey, like I just said, you got a whole bar singing it. Number three for me is Who Is It? That funky ass guitar riff is so nice. Number two for me, New Feeling. Love that song. And number one for me is Tentative Decisions. Just love that little dum 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 dum. Like, it's just so makes me just do this. Like, uh, uh.
Yeah, I have very similar picks to you, Dorian. For me, honorable mention was Psycho Killer, kind of same thing. That's it's big for a reason. It's a good song. It's very catchy. Number three was Pulled Up. Pretty fun song also at the end of the album. Number two, Who Is It? And then my favorite track was New Feeling.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of all over the place because this is like start to finish. I hadn't heard all these songs before. So honorable mention for me was Uh-Oh, Love Comes to Town. Good song. A little bit different.
Hell yeah.
The 3, 2, 1, I like First Week, Last Week, No Compassion, and then The Book I Read was my favorite track.
Very
Wow.
nice.
A lot of these songs that I would never have listened to, and I'm like, wow, these are different songs. Like this is
Yeah.
David and Talking Heads doing their thing. So
Yeah. Book I Read, I was torn between Psycho Killer and Book I Read for my honorable mention. So good
yeah.
pull. But hell yeah, that was my album for this week. The debut from Talking Heads. Talking Heads 77, released in 1977. That's going to kick us off for today's episode of Whatchu Spinnin', episode 113. Go ahead and stick around. We're going to kick it over to my main man, Matt, to kind of talk about some cool stuff and some through lines with my album. So we'll see you in about two shakes of a lamb's ass. Stick around. It's Whatchu Spinnin'. It's time to move on and switch up the the vibe here on What You Spin in episode 113. We just finished talking about a great debut with Talking Heads debut album. It's time to move along and kind of get nice and soft and ambient with it, which we fucking love around here on the program. With Matt's pick for this week, I'm Dorian, that's Matt, and that's Jake. Hello, how the hell are you? Matt, what the hell do you have for the people today?
Well, you know me, I like to get ambient with my picks just because that's kind of my roots for music when I got back into music in general. But I'm going with Harold Budd, who's an ambient artist that has been around forever from the late 60s up until present time. And this album's from 1988. It's called The White Arcades. This album stands out for me just because it's, piano heavy and just drony and I think each track puts you in a different mood. And for me, this is one of his better albums in his discography. I always come back to it. I'll listen to it while I'm going to sleep. I'll listen to it during work. Like there's not a bad time for me to play this album. And Harold Budd was kind of along the lines with Brian Eno for me. I kind of got into him at the same time. When I started with Brian Eno, I went into his ambient works and kind of started there. And then I got into like Ambient 2 and a couple other piano albums. And Harold Budd and him did a couple collaborations. And so I remember listening to those albums driving to work, my first banking job. And every morning I go over this hill and listen to those albums going to work. And that was my ambient introduction there. And so being able to talk about Harold Budd now is kind of full circle. It's been a while. It's been, 15 years for me at least. So just a good album for me. It puts me in a mood that it's hard to describe, but it's very serene, very peaceful. Nothing's wrong when I'm listening to this album. And it's different. He's not really known as an ambient artist. He's more avant-garde and kind of got thrown into that ambient threshold when he hooked up with Brian Eno, which is not a bad thing. I think Brian Eno said something along the lines of, he's an ambient musician trapped in a musician's body, which is a great comparison, to sum it up. Because, go ahead.
I think it was I just not to be well actually, but I
No,
did
no,
just read
please
it.
correct me.
He's like a classic painter trapped in a musician's
There it
body.
is. There it
Yeah,
is. Yep, that's what it is. Yes. So
which is
knowing that
accurate.
about him, it is accurate. Yeah, but his other albums are great too. I was not sure which one to bring up because his first release is really good too. So this is just a good introduction to his style, his drony presence, his ambient noise. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Round of
Perfectly.
applause. Yeah.
I've heard of a couple of songs from him off of Ambient too, just because he, did that with Eno. But I hadn't actually heard like a full solo project from this, and I love this. I love this. This is right up my alley. This was the perfect album to bring up. I am going to listen to more of his stuff. Because yeah, like you said, it fits the mood for everything. Like this past couple of weeks, like I was listening to some of this and one day I was having a hard day and a song came up and it made me really think about things. Like it put me in a thinking mood, like just, thinking about life, what I want to do, what's going on around me. And then other songs, it made me feel super productive where I was, cooking and cleaning at the same time and doing a bunch of stuff. So you can really kind of have it on at any point. And the piano that he has all throughout the album is really peaceful and also really beautiful. You have songs like Coyote where it's fantastic. Like you hear his piano on that and he's playing that thing full force. Like it's beautiful, but at the same time, it's not so much where it's like a classical sound. It still has that like the ambient feel to it. And then other songs are really synthy, really slowed down. You get some really fun songs on here too. So it's a great introduction. I am going to listen to more of his work because yeah, this is right up my alley.
It is, and it's right up mine too. His piano work on this is the pairing of his classical piano sound with the synth sound and this, just huge ambiance that you feel, which it is funny. I think based off what I was reading earlier, he said that he got kidnapped into the genre of ambient. But it's like, dude, it's like textbook ambient music. Like, and that's not a knock, dude. That's not me shitting on him. This is the type of shit that we look for, right? Like this is like this is music for airports on fucking steroids. This is like music for films times 10. It's that aquatic kind of sound at times, and he's playing the piano with something that he dubbed as the soft pedal technique, which focuses a lot on long sustained piano notes, which, to be crass, get my dick hard. I just love that in ambient music. Like classical piano, the note lasts 11 minutes. Yeah, give me that shit, dude. But it's the pairing of that with the synth that really gets me, because you get songs like Algebra of Darkness, which, if there's not like a deathcore band named Algebra of Darkness, I'm starting one today. Because that's a sick name for a song, especially an ambient one. And you get this like brooding synth with this beautiful piano played over it with that just crazy sustain. So uh shout out to Harold Budd, man. I have heard you mention him a handful of times. I think I've heard him a couple of songs here and there based off of the Brian Eno Association, but I am a big fan of this.
Nice. Yeah, Ambient 2 and the album he did, The Pearl, like as far as sustained notes, like you just said, his style, like Ambient 2 showcases that throughout the whole album. So it's really cool to hear that use of it. And he's even said this, he owes his whole like career to Eno. He's like, I was plucked from a tree and I flowered, something like that. He couldn't do it on
Yeah.
his own. Like I feel like Eno and him, like Eno kind of said, hey, you should try this. And then that happened to work out and it just went on from there. So that collaboration in itself is really cool to know about and to listen to. And you can hear it when they do their albums together. But even his solo stuff, this album in particular, it just showcases how different he was. He doesn't sound like it's a different ambient sound. It's avant-garde. Even was avant-garde with his lyrical albums. Harold Budd's like that with his instrumental albums, and he has a couple spoken word albums. But Pavilion of Dreams, one of his first albums, is a four-track album that's long as hell, but really cool if you're looking for other albums to jump into. And his whole discography is different. There's a whole bunch of different things going on. So there's some cool stuff with violins, the sustaining again, but I think he just takes that sustaining and kind of puts it into every instrument he puts into an album, and you can hear it with this one on the piano. So I'm glad you guys liked it. I'm glad you guys found some love for it and are coming away with wanting to dive back into it. So that's cool. That makes me happy.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is what I'd like listening to nowadays, so that puts me in like that thinking mood, and it just kind of lets your imagination run free at certain times. Songs like the Real Dream of Sails, that's like the Mario 64 underwater level, like that's what it sounds like. It's like playful, and it like when I heard it, it just made me smile, like it just made put me in a happy mood. And then, like Dorian said, Algebra of Darkness, it's like moody, it's mysterious, but it's like not menacing. It's like just kind of very slowly inching towards that darker themes. So yeah, it's fantastic. I'm definitely gonna be looking for this whenever I go record shopping. I'm gonna listen to more of his catalog. Um, so yeah, thank you for bringing this up.
Of course.
Yeah, it is. I want to buy or like go rent a drum set just to do like beats and breaks type beats underneath these like long, just like sustained notes, just uh,
Yeah.
like just Aphex Twin on fucking crack, dude. Because I'm not saying it's missing anything, but I'm like, it inspires me. I'm like, man, I could add something to this. Like, I wanna fucking, or just get like the little beat pad out.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Light
so,
Arcade by Dorian remixed. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. The Papadori Redux
Yeah.
coming to you soon.
Balake remix, baby.
The Jacques Mehoff edition. Jacques Mehoff Elden Lord cut.
Cool.
But no, man, I think that says something, right? That it makes me do something that I've never done. I'm like, this is inspiring, man. Like, I love this type of shit, and because it is that type of stuff is what I'm super into. Is this type of super long, drawn out, sustained chords over these like that's what I'm really into lately. And so I'm like, oh yeah, this is just drumless shit I've been listening to. So I'm Very happy. I will also be looking for this next time I go record shopping. Big fan.
Heck yeah, man. Well, we can get in top threes. Like I said, check out the discography for Harold Budd. He has some great albums like The Pavilion of Dreams, the Ambient Works with, or Ambient 2 and Pearl with Brian Eno's really good.
Hmm.
Um, there's just a lot of good stuff out there. I think he has an album with the Cocteau Twins. So yeah,
Damn.
check it out. Check it
Wow.
out. He's all over the place. All over the place.
Hell yes. I will hop in off of that. Honorable mention for me is The Kiss, the final song on the album. Uh, don't know, it just did something for me. I was like, ah. It was like refreshing. I don't and then number three for me was The Room. That one kind of caught me off guard. I was like, ooh, I like that a lot. Number two for me was Algebra of Darkness. And the number one for me was The Child with a Lion. I really liked the last 2 minutes of that song. There's kind of like a little change up that he does, and that again caught me off guard. And I was like, whoa, hold on, and listen. I like kept rewinding it to listen to like when that happened because I was, as you guys said, doing stuff while I was listening to it. And I was like, hold on, let's take a break from cleaning, figure out what the hell just happened. So Child with a Lion's my favorite.
Nice. Those are great picks. I will follow you, sir. Honorable mention for me, The Real Dream of Sales. Really good song, like that one. And 3, 2, 1, Algebra Darkness, Coyote, and then like you said, The Child with the Lion, like that's the one for me. Like there's so many different things in that song that put me
Hmm.
in different places. And I love when ambient music does that.
Hell yeah, good
Nice.
stuff.
We all have different picks, which is always a good tell sign that it's a good album. Honorable mention for me, Algebra of Darkness. I like that moodiness that comes with that song. 3, 2, 1. I'm going number three, Coyote. The piano work on that is crazy. Number two, The Real Dream of Sales, and my favorite track was Baltus, Bemused by Color.
Very nice. Balthus Bemused by Color was another good one. I really liked that as well. But that was Matt's pick. What year was this released?
1988, and I just noticed that he did an album with somebody else in 1994, and the album title was Glyph.
Hey,
It's
my
hilarious.
man. Hell yeah. 1988's The White Arcades by Harold Budd. Matt's pick for this week, this beautiful episode 113 of What You Spinning. We're gonna be right back to talk about Jake's and wrap this baby up and send it to the goddamn moon. Go ahead and stick around. We'll see you on the other side. Great pick, Matt. Yay! All right. It's about that time to close it out with a great pick for today's episode 113 of What You Spinning. I'm Dorian, that's Matt, and that's Jake. And speaking of that little rascal, it's his turn to talk about an album. And I'm pretty stoked. This was pretty fun. He listened to this for the first time along with Matt and I. So this will be interesting. I'm really stoked. There's a lot of cool shit to talk about here. But what is this wonderful album?
Yeah. Gabor Szabo, Spellbinder, came out in 66. I think it's pretty cool. The last episode, we all brought up like 2000s projects, like late 2000s projects, and now we're like 60s, 70s, 80s. Let's get into some older stuff. But Gabor Szabo, I heard this artist initially like a couple months ago through another song off of his 1969 album. And I've just kind of been on the hunt for his stuff since. Every now and then I'll see a couple of records of his in stores. And when I went up to Portland a few weeks back, saw this album and hadn't heard it. So I was like, hey, let's bring it up. I know this guy's good, so this album has to be good, right? Um, and yeah, I liked it. It's pretty interesting. There's a bunch of different tracks on here. He's a Hungarian guitarist. He migrated from over there. He's a refugee back in the late 60s. He was 21, I think, when he came to United States, and yeah, he's just kind of developed his own sound with his music. So, what did you guys think about it?
Big fan. Call me a ceiling fan because I'm a big ass fan of this. Um, yeah, it was. I don't know why, but I was when you said guitar player and I like looked him up before I listened to it because I was like Gabor Szabo, and you look it up and it's like got weird little etches and
Yes.
triangle hats on all the letters. And so I'm like, I looked him up and I was like, oh, Hungarian guitarist. Didn't look at pictures, just saw that. I was like, okay, cool. It's gonna be like acoustic stuff. No, this dude kind of shreds, and it's got like some cool Afro beat type of shit going on with it. Very Latin influence. Uh, and I loved it. This is the type of stuff that I love the hell out of, these instrumental for the most part guitar albums where that's what like Ymer Dadato, that's the album I have on my walls right up that same tree. So I was a big fan of this. I'm gonna keep listening to it for sure.
Yeah, I
Nice.
feel like we should do this more often where we, pick an album that we've never heard and we just like, yeah, we're all gonna do it together. So this was fun experiment. Spellbinder kind of sums it up like with that style of how the album is gonna start off. And then as I was listening to it throughout the last couple weeks, when I messaged you guys about this was a very good year and that Frank Sinatra cover, because I was listening to it, I'm like, I know this song. Like, and so I look at the track, I'm like, what? And that's cool, it's that time of, the 60s. So of course he's going to do a Sinatra cover, but he did a really good job at that. And the whole album is very unique. It's different. I feel like he's got that kind of jazz influence, the late 60s sound, and he kind of incorporates his own guitar sound into that. And like Dorian said, he can shred. He does a little spoken word singing throughout the album. And it's just a different album, it's a great representation of that time in guitar rock. And you have some of the folky bands, you have some of the singer-songwriters, and you have albums like this that are completely different, more instrumental, showcasing what the artist can do on the instrument. And it was fun. I'm glad we got to pick this one and listen to it together. Good pick.
Nice. Yeah, it was my first listen too. I had heard his other stuff before this, but nothing, not a full album front to back. So, and yeah, like you guys said, it has that like jazzy Latin feel. Like it's a Hungarian guitarist with like a Latin rhythm session. Like it's very certain songs they have like faster guitars, they're quicker. Some songs are really slowed down, like My Foolish Heart. It's really cool. I like albums like these because there isn't a lot of information on them, but when you like uh some of them they have like information of the artist and it gives like a breakdown of the different songs and his different thoughts. He was a very like he was a very dedicated musician and he liked to do things in one take. Like he said, most of these songs are one take because he's very driven off of emotion. So, because like too many takes, too many, redos, he feels like it's just repetitive and it's robotic. So he just did it all in one take usually, which is pretty interesting, pretty cool, and it's pretty fucking ballsy because like, he can mess up, he can, if he's recording it, it slips up or whatever, but he just kind of rolls with the punches and, does it how he does it, and it's a debut album, I think, so also pretty unique that this is where it kind of all started off, it kicked off. But yeah, it was a fun album, pretty interesting. I Yeah, it was my first actual album listen of his, so if you like this kind of stuff, he has other great works, other great songs, so definitely check out his other work.
Yeah, and there was a lot of like a lot of cool little tidbits about this. I didn't realize, is it Gypsy Queen or Gypsy Woman?
Mhm.
It's Gypsy Queen, I believe, was him. Like this is the original Gypsy Queen, which was used as like the back half of Black Magic Woman, which was a Fleetwood Mac song when Santana did
Yep.
Black Magic Woman Gypsy Queen. I didn't realize that. I thought that was Santana. So this was really cool to find out that this is the original. And I love Santana's version of it, but this is so cool to hear like kind of the stripped down, it's not as crazy, and you still get that doom to doom to doom doom to doom to doom doom to doom. Like the percussion on this is so nice. And this will perk your guys' ears up if you happen to read up on this or read up on the backing band to Mr. Gabor Szabo. Uh Ron Carter was the bass player, and he played double bass, upright, and he is the most recorded. I think he's been recorded over 2,200 times. He's the most recorded jazz bassist of all time. Because of all of the works he's worked with Herbie, he's worked with Miles Davis. Chico Hamilton was the drummer on this, and he was a really big drummer and band leader in jazz for a really long fucking time. So we just got like these crazy backing band people, and the conga hand percussion guys that he got are also very top tier. But fun fact about Ron Carter, the bassist, remember the low end theory by A Tribe Called Quest, Verses from the Abstract, that dum 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 dum, that's him. He recorded that bass line for that album.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Ain't that a motherfucker? That's cool as shit to me, honestly.
That's really cool.
So there's your little fun facts.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of artists in this period of music too, the late 60s, that were, the singer-songwriters had issues with, substance abuse, and unfortunately so did he. But, artists like Tim Buckley died of heroin overdose. Same with this guy apparently. But it's just sad to know that that drug was so prevalent back in the 60s and how bad it is today.
Yeah.
And it's been that way forever. So I don't know. It just seems like we're a little blind to the negativity of that drug. It's been around that since the 60s. Even Morrison probably overdosed on heroin. Like, yeah, it's just a bad
Yeah.
thing. That
Just
being said,
terrible.
I know a lot of artists use that drug to maybe inspire, wind down. So regardless of the fact that they use a substance, great musician, great music.
Yeah,
All the musicians I just brought up did great things. It's just sad that they left this world too soon. Another good example of this guy right here.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's why it's like, not to derail too much about it, but it is crazy to think about like how prevalent it was back then with overdoses, because you've got Morrison, probably this guy, insert, and then into the 90s it kept happening, and then now it's continuing to happen. And it's like, quit, hey, quit it. First
Yeah.
off,
Mhm.
stop making it, but quit adding shit to it. Like, it was bad to begin with. You don't got to
Yeah.
add shit to it, because I know that that's like, it's getting cut. It's getting cut with dumb shit now, probably. But yeah, it's like, fucking, god damn it, man. You know how many people, how many like great musicians we lost because they got on heroin and died from heroin, or
Yep.
got on heroin and blew their fucking head off? Yeah.
Or
I
almost
mean,
died. You got Trent Reznor coming back from the grave to be
exactly.
himself and win Grammy Awards. So like, yeah, the
Fuck,
dangerous
man.
thing. But anyways,
Anywho,
great,
shall
great
we?
album. Great album.
Great album. R.I.P.
Yeah. Yeah. RIP for sure. I mean, nowadays, who knows what they're cutting it with, like fucking horse trank and shit.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's unfortunate. This guy was like 45, 46 when he passed. So it's like, but what they left behind, it's good stuff. So it definitely gets played a lot. I was actually looking at an interview that Santana did, and he was talking so much like about this guy, about Gabor Szabo, and how he influenced him and his guitar playing.
Oh wow.
So it's cool that, even bigger artists like that still kind of recognize these smaller guys. And it's well known, and it's crazy, Dorian. I didn't know that he had fucking, world class players also helping out. And like, it's nuts
It's
that
crazy.
happens.
Look up, if you look up Ron Carter, you'll recognize the albums that he happened to play on with. I can't remember them off the top of my head, but particularly like Miles Davis, he did a lot of interesting. Like, you hear the album, you're like, oh fuck, for real? Okay, cool. Yeah, look them
Yeah.
up. Pretty interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, let's get into our favorite tracks of the album. I can kick us off. It's pretty short. It's 36 minutes, 9 songs. But it's pretty jam-packed for me. Honorable mention, Yearning. Um, Pretty good
Mm-hmm.
track there.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3 was My Foolish Heart. There's a lot of This is probably like the bigger section that he has on that song. Like on in the inside of the record, he talks about every song specifically. This is probably the bigger section. It's a very personal song for him. He said he can only play it once a show because if not, he'll like start tearing up. It was very emotional for him. So My Foolish Heart, number 3, number 2, Spellbinder, the title track, and then my favorite track, Gypsy Queen.
Hell
Nice.
yes. Honorable mention for me was Witchcraft. Really liked that one. Um, Number three for me was Bang Bang. Liked the vocal, and it kind of had this like reggae kind of bop vibe to it, you know. Number two for me was Gypsy Queen. Loved that one. You know, that fun fact about it kind of blew my mind. And number one for me was Cheetah. There's some notes that he was playing in there that like made me think of, you know, songs that I've heard elsewhere and, you know, notes you hit in a jam on guitar. I was like, man, this is getting, it was like very drawn out and like jammy at times. I really liked that. So
Nice. Yeah, good picks. For me, honorable mention was kind of the end of the album, Autumn Leaves, Speak to Me, good track. And then 321, Spellbinder, My Foolish Heart, good track. And then, of course, it was a very good year. The Sinatra cover is what drew me in. So good pick. I'm glad we got to do this together. It was a great journey.
me too. Yeah, great pick, Jake. And that pick was Gabor Szabo's Spellbinder, released in 66.
56.
66, which was Jake's pick for this episode 113 of What You Spinning. We'll be back in about two shakes of a lamb's ass to really put a bow on this bad boy and tell you what's coming in the next episode. And we're going to talk about that too. Don't you worry. We'll catch you on the other side. It's What You Spinning, episode 113. Thank you. Okay. What's up, y'all? It's time for everybody's favorite part of What You Spinning when we tell you what's coming up for next episode. I'm Dorian, that's Matt, and that's Jake. Due to us being busy for the rest of the summer, essentially, basically all of August is kind of booked for the three of us, whether it's card shows, concerts, this, that, or the other. Just can't lock down a time that would be feasible for us to put out a good product and a good episode. But as it's good for us that we know ahead of time. So we're going to end up bringing up some long albums to kind of digest for the better part of a month plus. And I'm pretty stoked about that. I'm going to miss my boys and I'm going to miss talking about music. I'm sure we'll text about all these albums. There's a lot of good shit that I'm sure we're going to digest and get into, but we will be back. I think the first weekend of September we'll be back. So the following Monday or Tuesday, maybe I'll light a fire under my ass and get that episode out on a Monday since it'll be, excuse me, a little bit of time between. But anyway, we appreciate your understanding and your patience. We will be back and put out a damn good product for you. But enough of me talking about that. I think y'all get the message. We appreciate you. Let's get into it. We go in the order that we talked about for today. So I am going up first. And I'm going to preface this with these songs are long. There's a lot of long songs on here. This is a long album. You do not have to listen to the full song. If you feel like you get the gist of it, go ahead. It's just, hey, it's a good opportunity for me to introduce y'all to or bring up a band that I haven't gotten a chance to talk about in length. So I'm going with Fish, Live Fish, April 4th, 1998, at the Providence Civic Center in Providence, Rhode Island, part of their iconic island tour in the spring of 1998. A lot of good shit on there, some stuff you guys will recognize, and I think we'll get a kick out of it. But if you get the gist of a song, just don't feel pressured. I know it's long.
I like it. I haven't really dove into any Fish albums, so it'll be fun. I'm also going to bring up a live album from 1992 by an artist we have not brought up. I've wanted to bring up this artist forever, but I'm like, what album do I talk about? So I'm going to go with a live album from 92, Live at Wembley Stadium by Queen. It's time to get Freddie
Very
Mercury.
nice.
Yeah.
Very fucking nice. We have not talked about Queen, and that's a good album. I remember that one.
Wow. It's gonna be a crazy month. Crazy too, because we all just, I guess, in our heads, we're in the same headspace and said, let's all bring up live albums. So I'm also bringing up a live album. I'm bringing up a Daft Punk album. They've only done two from what I know, but this one's, my opinion, the better one. Alive 2007 by Daft.
Oh, I
In
was
my
wondering which one.
in my opinion, one of the best electronic live albums of all time. Probably the best. No one can mix Daft Punk like Daft Punk.
No.
Yeah, Alive 2007.
And speaking of, if you, I'm sure you've seen it, Jake, but listeners at home and Matt as well, look up the Fred again with what is his name, Thomas from Daft Punk. They did a set together. Yeah, and it's incredible. He was pulling out Daft Punk shit with Fred again. It was nuts. It's incredible. It's all on YouTube, I believe, one of them. Um, Jesus Christ, man. This is going to be a hell of a month. And it's all over the place as we always do. We've got Alive '07 by Daft Punk, which is going to be killer. Uh, like I said, I was wondering which one of the two you were going to bring up. We've got Live at Wembley from 1992 with Queen, and we've got Fish 1998. Man, that's gonna be fire. It's gonna be a good month. We're gonna miss you guys. I'm gonna miss talking to my boys about music. But I'm gonna have a lot of shit to sit and digest and chew on, and that makes me super happy. I think that makes it all worth it. And so hey, that'll probably be a long episode. Maybe we coordinate and see if we can be in person for that one. I don't know. We'll figure it the fuck out. We've got a long time to talk about it. But with that being said, we appreciate you guys for sticking around to the end with us, or even just skipping to the very end to see if you give a fuck. Um, we appreciate your support as always. Go ahead and follow us on Instagram at Whatchu Spinnin. Follow me at Dorian Dilly, constantly posting stuff about music. I posted a hilarious WWE clip on my story of not Macho Man, The Rock and Stone Cold singing Margaritaville. So there's stuff for fans, everybody out there. And then also, if you're in the Eugene area, go stop by Moonrock Records, Epic Seconds as well. I've been there a lot lately. They're really good over there. Stop into Hooker Sports Card. Maybe you'll bump into me or Matt, and you'll get to understand what we're talking about if we ever talk cards. But anyway, I'm Dorian. That's Matt, and that's Jake. We love you. We'll catch you next time. Stay cool out there, and just be cool. Be a nice person. We'll catch you later. Bye.